Hello friends and welcome back to the Dork side. I'm here at Power Motorsports in Sublimity, Oregon, and I'm finally going to get my hands on the new KLR test ride and first impressions video. Let's go. Big shout out to Power for the opportunity to come out and do some test rides today. This is a bike I've been very excited to get hands-on with, and we're going to take it out for a little bit of an extended road test ride today. Get a feel for it and just try to understand and discover whether or not the upgrades make that big of a difference or if it's still the same old KLR. So let's get on and go ride because this guy's making a lot of noise with his lawnmower.
That's right, everyone. I'm the Dork on the road, and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. I am beyond excited to get hands-on with this new KLR 650. This is the updated 2022 model, fuel injected. Supposedly everything that was great about the old KLR, plus some new additions like rubber-mounted controls and a comfier seat and all that. So let's take this thing out. Before I leave, I just got to say thank you one more time to Power and to Matt specifically. So if you need a Kawasaki, a Yamaha, a KTM, a Polaris, they sell basically everything here. Come in, talk to Matt, he'll hook you up. Also worth mentioning that this is a test ride and first impressions video. It is not a review, it is not a long-term review. There are things about the bike that may not be immediately obvious on test rides that some of you that have had them for longer might know or might be able to contribute. Please throw those things in the comments. But this is not a review because I'm only gonna have the bike for about half an hour. Just a sort of overview of my impressions, what it feels like riding it. First thing you notice is that the seat is very, very wide, and my guess is comfortable. I've heard that it's comfortable. The reviews I've read said comfortable, but it's very wide and sort of plush, you could say, and it's long. There's a foot of seat behind me, so plenty of room for two people and lots of room to move forward and back if you are on a longer highway ride. The new dash is definitely an improvement, except it doesn't have a tachometer and the old one did. This windscreen is adjustable. Looks like it's in the low position right now. This is, I think, the base model. I don't even think this is the ABS, so it doesn't have the plugs that come with the Adventure model. It doesn't have the lights that come with the Adventure model. We're talking base model. What is it, $6,700? That's what we're riding right now. This is a 652cc thumper, single cylinder. It is now fuel injected, the biggest improvement, but there's a bunch of other improvements that they made to make the over the old KLR, the old venerable dinosaur. This bike is really heavy on paper. It's like 460 pounds on paper, right? It's about the same as the Tenere. It's actually a little more than the Tenere, but I will tell you, when you sit on it, it doesn't feel like it. So this bike is only about 50 pounds lighter than my Africa Twin-ish, and it feels much lighter than my Africa Twin, just sitting on it. It doesn't feel like it's gonna tip over. It doesn't feel top heavy or weird. It definitely feels lighter than it is. It carries its weight well, at least moving around in the parking lot and stuff. First impressions, this feels like a bike that I'd be very comfortable taking up, even old abandoned roads that I wasn't sure where they ended up, because I'd feel confident that I could turn it around. I can get my feet down, the balls in my feet, both sides, pretty easily, which is surprising considering the seat height. Sag helps a little bit with that, but I think sometimes people look at these bikes and they get intimidated by how tall they are, and I will just really encourage you to sit on it before you make a decision about whether or not a bike is right for you. Yes, it's a tall seat height, but it's not intimidatingly tall, and it's not unmanageably tall. I have a 30-inch inseam. I'm only 5'11". Now, it only has like, what, 40 horsepower, 43, somewhere in there. So my guess is it's not going to be a screamer. Yeah, it's a reliable chugging tractor. That's what you're getting. We are not hauling ass by any means. Bar position feels good. I'm very comfortable. It's a very neutral position sitting down. My legs don't feel overly bent. The bars are right where my hands rest naturally. Well, she's just chugging along. I'm pretty comfortable. And the vibration is, you definitely notice a difference than you did with the old model. And we'll really test that when we get out here at highway speeds. The old model, there was a lot of vibration. The old numb hands and fingers, and with the rubber mountedness, I think it's making a big difference. I am just impressed with, it's just not that heavy. It just doesn't feel that heavy. That's the first thing you notice. It looks like a big bulky motorcycle, at least in pictures. I think in person it looks smaller than it does in pictures. In pictures it looks really big. In person it's not that big, but it still looks like it's going to be kind of heavy, top heavy. But I just don't feel that when I'm putting my feet down and stuff. I just think I would feel really good about walking it around and doing slow speed stuff, and knowing that if I got into a tight situation I could turn it around easily in a way that I don't feel with my Africa Twin. My Africa Twin definitely, I don't ever want to get up somewhere where it's not easy to turn around just because it's heavy.
My overall impressions of the KLR 650, the 2022, I'm not unimpressed. I think it's everything that you liked about the old KLR, but they fixed a lot of the issues that people had, the common complaints, except for there's no 6th gear. I get it, but with the way it's geared, I don't feel like you need it. I just don't. It feels perfectly fine. So this is a solid tractorable, easy to ride, entry-level dual sport / adventure motorcycle. And it really straddles that line between dual sport and adventure. It's comfortable, it's got the power when you need it, but it is in no way intimidating. It tractors right up hills. It'll do highway speeds just fine. It carries my weight just fine. There are a few annoying things. I don't really like the rubber foot pegs, but I just replaced them. But everything else, there's not a lot I feel like I would want to change on this bike for what it is. And that's the thing, is that people that complain about it being underpowered or you know, old school design or too heavy, they don't understand what it's for. They're comparing it to a Tenere or to a KTM 890, and it's not either one of those things. It's not even a DR650, which is what it gets compared to a lot. This is the true Swiss Army knife do-it-all motorcycle. If you have a short commute, you can do it on a KLR. If you want to ride the Idaho BDR, you can do it on a KLR. If you want to ride around the city, you can do it on a KLR. You want to go moto camping once in a while, you want to explore forest roads, you can even take this trail riding. It's a little heavy, but it would do it. It doesn't feel as heavy as it is. This is the ultimate one bike solution. It does nothing quickly, but it does everything well.
Okay, well, I said all that, and now I've secured permission to take this out and hit up some off-road. So let's do a little off-road action. That's neutral, you idiot. Okay, here we go, off-road time. Let's test out these stupid rubber foot pegs. Okay, well, it's almost like shock absorption. So there's some washboarding. I'm not feeling it at all. I think it's a combination of the rubber mounted everything and the stiffness of the suspension. Yeah, there's definite washboarding, but I seriously literally don't even feel it. That is surprising and impressive. I know it's not the greatest suspension, it's a cheaper suspension, but it seems to be just fine right now for this kind of riding. Let's go a little faster. This thing is smooth. I think it's the extra weight. This is probably the most comfortable fast gravel bike I've ever ridden. How about that? I can say that already in the time it's taken me to get here. Man, I think you can tear up fast gravel on this thing all day. Feels like pavement. I'm barely kidding.
Off-road impressions. I did not expect to like it this much. This is the most comfortable, confidence-inspiring gravel road motorcycle I think I've ever ridden. It's the perfect combination of weight to make you feel planted and steady. It just eats up these gravel roads. I was doing 55, standing up, sitting, no big deal. It's very comfortable, and it also, turning it around, even on this uneven, loose terrain, feels very comfortable. It feels like a big dual sport because it is. It doesn't feel like an adventure bike, and it's not that much lighter than my Africa Twin, but it feels way lighter than my Africa Twin, and that's really weird. I wasn't expecting that. This is a fun bike. On paper, it looks slow. It looks heavy. It's got low horsepower. It's not a very new design, but the combination of factors, this is just a very unique, very fun bike to ride. And for a person like me, and many of you I know that watch this, who getting there is my priority number one. I just want to go cool places. If I can have fun along the way on the ride, that's awesome. But I do not need the most powerful, most capable motorcycle because I'm not the most capable rider and I never will be. That's just not who I am. I'm not the adrenaline junkie type. I'm the explore and see beautiful stuff type, and if you can have a fun ride there, even better. This is the perfect bike for that, not just for the entry level, but for someone like me, it's a bike I would seriously consider. It's so easy to just whip around, turn around. It's inexpensive to get into. It's fun to ride on these gravel roads. Admittedly, I haven't had it on anything super technical, but the suspension feels very stiff. Feels very planted. I've never ridden a bike where I went over washboards and didn't feel it. And it may be because it's too soft and I need to crank it up. And it's competent on the highway. I had it at 65. You know, nothing is gonna snap your neck, nothing's gonna blow your skirt up, but that's not what it's for. It's the bike that you know will get you there. The slow and steady wins the race motorcycle. I just really like it. I always say go out and ride the bike because you can look at them on paper all day and you know, that's nothing compared to the feeling you get riding it, and riding this bike is fun as hell. It's fun, confidence inspiring, easy maintenance, it's gonna last you forever. I would feel good recommending a KLR to you, and it's so cheap. It's so cheap. This is your turnkey, let's go on an adventure bike. For the 8 grand that you spend on the KLR 650 Adventure, comes with cases, crash bars, everything you need except handguards to go out and have your first adventure. You can't beat that, can't be beat. And it's so much more than the sum of its parts, and you really can't appreciate that until you ride it, so I would encourage you to ride it. Speaking of which, I'm gonna ride it some more off-road. We're gonna take this gravel road back up because it's that fun. It just doesn't feel heavy. It's easy to move around, which is one of my biggest complaints about my Africa Twin is I hate moving it around. I don't feel like this is hard to move around. It feels way different, carries its weight in a very different way. Feels like my DRZ. So if you have any questions about the KLR 650 that I can answer with my time on it, please leave them in the comments. I just want to say thank you one more time to Matt at Power for the opportunity to get out and do a test ride, and to Dave, who decided I could take it off road today, so thank you both. really great to have the opportunity to test it in a variety of different situations. Like if I buy a bike like this, I'm buying it to ride off-road most of the time, and it's nice to have the opportunity to actually test it in the conditions that you would be riding it in. Fast gravel is something to spend a lot of time on. I'm gonna head back to the dealership, so for now, and as always, I just wanna say thank you very much for watching, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.